Hi, I'm Michelle Werdeman, and I am here to help you navigate your life's next chapter through mind, balance, and wellness living. At every phase of our lives, through marriage, career changes, kids, and retirement, I am there for my clients emotionally to help create a personalized life plan. With my foundational coaching perspective and certified financial planning background, together we can create a plan for you through each chapter of your life. Contact me today through mbwliving.com for your free consultation. Hello and welcome to the Boot Camp for Your Mind podcast. I am your host, Michelle Werdeman, certified life, weight, and career coach, and founder of Mind Balance Wellness Living. Good afternoon, friends. I appreciate you tuning in today. It is a beautiful sunny day, Sunday, that is, in New England. And, the birds are chirping. It's cool, but it's not cold. And I'm gearing up for a really nice dinner with some friends tonight. So all is good. So we're about 3 weeks into this hybrid school program. Like, all things considered, things are going okay. More so on the in-person days of the week. Those are personally my favorite. The other 3 days, well, I'm like, let's just say there's a reason I didn't become a teacher, because teachers have far more patience than I do. So kudos to all of you teachers out there, and for anyone that is homeschooling your kids. So you're all doing a fantastic job. Today I wanted to have a conversation around behaviors. And by behaviors, I'm talking about how to create long-lasting positive behaviors that help you get where you want to be in life. And have you ever tried to create a new habit, or maybe change one that isn't a great habit and you just haven't been successful? I know I have, and most of the people that I know have. So I wanted to provide you with some tools that will help create lasting behaviors, and it honestly starts with 30 seconds at a time. And before I dive into the how, I first want to ask you, have you ever heard yourself say or think that change is hard? I've heard it, I've said it, I've thought it, but think about it. Change is hard. That is just a myth. That is just a thought, my friends. Like, sure, some things can be more difficult than others, but in order to start making change in your life, I want you to be aware if you're thinking that change is hard. And the reason I say this is because if you remember, or you've listened to any of my other podcasts, you'll know that I coach on how our thoughts create our feelings, which lead to our actions, which ultimately give us results. So if you're thinking that change is hard, like, how does that make you feel? Like, for me, if I think that way, it's kind of a little bit scary and I'm a little bit apprehensive. So chances are I'd procrastinate on taking any action. Like, our brains are designed to avoid hard things for the most part. Like, it prefers easy. So if I'm not taking action, then I'm not getting a result, which in essence then proves my thought that change is hard to feel true. Like, I would start to believe that. And beliefs are just thoughts that we think over and over again. Whether they're facts or not, they're just stories sometimes that we tell ourselves. So I just want you to be aware if you find yourself thinking that change is hard. That's just a thought. So a more productive thought could be, change can be easy, or change is possible. Like, those are going to create more ideal emotions, which are going to lead to more positive actions and ultimately create positive behaviors. So how do we create new habits or behaviors? We do this by taking baby steps. And I know you might be thinking, oh, yeah, baby steps. Like, I've heard it before and it might sound trivial, but just hear me out on this one. Babies don't go from crawling to waking up and then sprinting, running down the hallway. I guess unless you are watching a Disney superhero movie, because I think I've seen that happen in one of those, but you know what I mean. Babies will start to walk. They'll take 1 or 2 steps and they will fall down. They'll get back up. They'll take another 2 steps, and they'll fall back down, and they just keep going. There's no drama in that baby or toddler's mind about failing and falling. All they know is that the end result is they have to walk. But as adults, we start to create all this drama in our heads about falling and failing and getting up and repeating. So what if you're trying to achieve something and there was no option for you not to achieve this? You literally would fall, fail, and you just keep going, right? So if you want to create long-lasting behaviors that will result in positive changes, you have to start small. You have to plant the seeds in order for everything to start to grow. And I read this really, really good book. It was called The Small Changes That Change Everything. And that was by B.J. Fogg, PhD. And he created what is called the Fogg behavior method. And what this is, when you have motivation plus ability plus a trigger all together, you can create a behavior. So I'll break this down for you. Motivation and ability are really just trade-offs. Think about a New Year's resolution. And we all know what happens with New Year resolutions, right? Most of them don't last. Not all of them, but the majority. And people often blame themselves for, a lack of motivation or willpower, which is exactly why you don't ever want to rely solely on either of those to create lasting change, because they don't work. So you may be highly motivated on January 1st, and yeah, maybe it lasts for a while, but if you're also trying to do something that's brand new or something that's difficult, when your motivation runs low and now it's mixed with something that's hard to do, that's when you stop. So, motivation really, it's just our desire to do something, and it comes in waves. We have spikes in motivation to do hard things at certain times, then not so much. So this can also lead to a lack of confidence in your own ability to accomplish what you are trying to create. And again, you may find yourself in this vicious cycle and eventually just stop trying. This becomes tiring, and this is why you give up. So the idea is to start with something easy, even if your motivation is super low or high for that matter. Just start off with something easy to do. That's the ability part of the equation. I want to give you an example, and just a heads up, I'm going to get a little personal here. Since I was young, the dentist has always told me, make sure you floss every day, brushing your teeth morning and night. I've always been told it's good for you. Truth be told, I would do it every once in a while, here and there, but never stuck to it. I always had healthy teeth and a good checkup, so why would I just add another piece to my nightly and morning routine? I didn't have any motivation to do so because my teeth were healthy. I liked the idea of flossing twice a day. It just never stuck. So when I was reading this book, Fogg gave a couple of examples of very small behaviors that you could do. One of which was flossing one tooth after you brushed your teeth. Yes, literally one tooth. And that would take all of about 20 seconds, including the time it took to grab the floss. So I said to myself, challenge accepted. I bought those little sticks with floss and I put them next to my toothbrush. So while my motivation wasn't super high to floss twice a day, the ability to do so was super easy, and I only needed 20 seconds to do it. So guess what? I started flossing, because once I'm in there, I'm not going to just stop at one tooth. I'm going to just keep going. But what wasn't there is the pressure that I had to all of a sudden start flossing all of my teeth, which would probably take a lot longer than 20 seconds. It was going to take a few minutes, twice a day, and it was just going to add to my routine. So by starting with 20 seconds and one tooth, guess what? It's a year later, and I am a flosser, my friends. Not the dance. I've tried, and my kids they just look the other way. It's not pretty. So he also encourages you to praise yourself when you do the behavior. This will help you create confidence. And truth be told, I may have done a few happy dances after literally flossing my teeth. That's just me, but you have to laugh at yourself sometimes. And I love the fact that I now floss twice a day. Again, I told you this was going to be personal. And it started with 20 seconds. So when I ask clients what they're looking to create, I'll often hear things like, I want to lose 20 pounds, I want to find a new job, I want to be happier in my relationship, or I want to have enough money that I can retire comfortably. And these are all outcomes and aspirations which are great, but in order to obtain these, you need to start to create different behaviors than what you are currently doing. That is why you don't have the current results. So we do brainstorming, and we think of all of the behaviors that would need to happen to create said outcome. So the easy ones, the really hard ones, and all the ones in between. We pick 3 or 4 behaviors that we start with, all of which are super easier, and we go from there. And we celebrate along the way. And as I mentioned earlier, so the FOG behavior really has the 3 components. It has motivation, which we talked about, ability, we talked about, and the third is a trigger. And so what does a trigger mean? A trigger is what will prompt you to do the behavior. So for example, your phone rings. That triggers you to answer the phone. Well, unless you look at the caller ID and you decide you don't want to answer the phone, then the ringing is still a trigger, but I think you get what I mean. So in my example, my trigger is after brushing my teeth, I will floss. And the way you do this is find an existing behavior that you already have, which will become your prompt or your trigger. Then you put that new behavior after it. So some of my weight loss clients, it's drinking more water. And what happens is that this is a new behavior. A lot of us don't drink enough water. So the idea is keeping a bottle of water. Again, this is just an example, but keeping a bottle of water next to your bed. When you wake up in the morning, before you get out of bed, drink a glass of water. So the prompt or the trigger is waking up. The ability is super easy. That bottle of water is already right there, and it won't take you very long to drink. And another example that I love personally and I use is every day when I wake up, before I step foot on the ground, I say, today is going to be a great day. Even when I don't feel like it, I just say it out loud, like, today's going to be a great day. And God willing, I wake up each morning, which is my prompt, and I speak those words. It takes me seconds, but it's such a beneficial way of starting my day off on the right foot. Even when I am super grumpy because my husband, who snored all night, got a great night's sleep while I laid awake, I still say that today is going to be a great day. And most of the time he's already gone, and that's fine too. But you know what I mean. It's all about the baby steps. It's one step at a time. That's how we got started in life, literally one step at a time. So if you need some help in creating your baby steps, feel free to shoot me a message. My email, it's michelle@mbwliving.com. And thank you so much for being here with me today. Tune in next week because we're going to have some fun. We get into relationships. Cheers and be well, my friends.
Michelle Werdeman is a certified life coach, now offering an online coaching membership to support brain power and mental wellness. It's important to exercise our bodies, but we have to exercise our minds too. Our thoughts are what ultimately create the results in our lives. And becoming aware of our thoughts is what we dive into through her Mind, Brain, and Wellness program. You can start to create your dream life today from the comfort of your own home and at your own pace too. Contact Michelle today at mbwliving.com.